All right, let's do this thing. Queen's Plate 2021, Woodbine Live. Excited to be back with you. Dan Tordjman here with America's Best Racing, joined by my good friends, Ren Carothers. Both of us got a little bit of sleep last night after the Breeders' Cup show. Back at it.
Back at it.
Oh, there you go. Oh, look, I haven't quit either. I basically have been sitting here straight.
That's dark.
That is dark. Dark.
It is really dark. In more ways than one.
Bread in a bottle.
Exactly.
Well, it should serve as an immediate reminder that if you're watching this at home, grab a drink, settle in. We're about to watch the Dan Smartley Stakes. We're going to have video of that race for you. We're about to watch the Queen's Plate Stakes. We're going to handicap. We're going to bet. We're going to gamble. And, of course, for more of that gambling, handicapping, insight analysis, we also have J.D. Fox back with us and our friend Ellis Starr from Equibase. So really excited to kick things off. Let's start with you, J.D. I know you have been following Woodbine closely throughout the meet. This is a big day. How are you feeling going into these next couple of races? And this is also the start of the Pick 5. So,
well, I felt I had a good view of how the track was playing until 70-1 shot just took them wire to wire in the previous race. So this is a really strong late Pick 5, and we're going to kind of touch on the Pick 5 here, but this should be a great set of races here and a absolutely wide open plate. We saw 4 horses only in the plate trial. We have an invader from the Woodbine Oaks, as we always do. It's going to be a very exciting rendition. Hey,
I love that. Yeah, it's a rendition.
If you didn't hear what JD said at the beginning, the video was a little choppy. We just had a 79-1 shot win the last race at Woodbine. So anything's possible. Ellis, we test you with cobbling together a ticket with everyone's input, which can get a little tricky at times when everyone's got a different opinion. And that's what happened, which goes to tell you how tough this sequence is going to be.
Yeah, definitely. The last two, I mean, the 12th and 13th, usually the last race on the card at Woodbine, which is the super high 5 race, is like a maiden claimer with a 16-horse field. They all go. And in this case, it's actually an allowance race with a $100,000 purse, and it's tough. And the 12th is even tougher because that's a maiden race, but it's a maiden special with a big field. And I'm telling you, I don't know. We have 16. We have 1,800 combinations or something like that, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
It was a big ticket. It was a 20-cent ticket. It's $450. It's 5. Actually, I'm sorry. We have 2,250 combinations, and we still might be out in the first leg.
Well, this is our ticket, and look, this is the deal. A lot of times you try to narrow this down as best you can, especially if you're playing a solo ticket. We were lucky enough to not only be able to have all of our money, all of our thoughts, combined here for this. We've also got Sheri Riddoch, who's at Woodbine, is going to be joining us live soon from Woodbine. And we've got a big team here, so we each threw in a little bit of money. It's a bigger ticket. That's our ticket. We'll follow along here for these first few legs, see how we do. But we want to hear what you're doing as well at home too. So let us know who you think will win the Dan Smartley Stakes. Drop your picks in the comments. Ren, just for you, because you love the pedigree, as we know, you wanted to call something out specifically that ties the Dan Smartley Stakes to the Queen's Plate, and then we've got a video to back it up.
That's
after
right.
your connection.
Well, okay, so in the Queen's Plate, at a price, a horse who could potentially surprise is Dance Some Mo. I mean, how fitting would it be for this horse to win the Queen's Plate, considering the fact that he has tremendous cred with the Queen's Plate specifically in mind? Not only is his dam sire Awesome Again, who won the Queen's Plate, but his great-grandmother is Dance Through the Dawn, who won the Queen's Plate. And then her mother, of course, people then will remember, is Dance Smartley, who won the Queen's Plate. She became the second filly to have ever won the Canadian Triple Crown. She went on to become the first Canadian campaigned horse to win a Breeders' Cup race. She won the Breeders' Cup Distaff in '91. And of course, we have her namesake race today. So it would be ultra, ultra fitting.
All right. So before we get into handicapping the Dance Smartley Stakes, let's take a look back at the great Dance Smartley.
By the final furlong, Dance Smartley widening with takes the lead under Pat Day's urging and pulls away here by 2. It is Versailles Treaty, but it's too late and not enough. And it is Dance Smartly who strides under the line.
Super cool.
So I got a question.
Go
I got a
ahead.
question. Why is Dan? I maybe somebody knows. Why is this race on the turf when she was a dirt horse? Anybody? Just curious.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
I was just wondering.
I mean, I guess you know, that's a good question.
Maybe Sheri knows. We'll get Sheri on. We should
If
ask
somebody's
Sheri.
watching knows the answer, I had the same thought though. You know, I had the same.
But just real quick, also, just to the point about that pedigree it being so important. I mean, people be Dance Smartly, and you take in mind she's a half sister to Smart Strike, who's the sire of Curlin. So this is a prolific family, and it's an important family. So it's again really cool to see a horse like this represented in the Queen's Plate.
All right, so we've got a couple of things going on here. We're getting our first look at the odds here for the Dance Smartly Stakes. Going to throw those up quickly, and then we're going to go live to Woodbine in a moment so that we could catch up with Sheri. So these are the odds right now for the Dance Smartly Stakes. You can see on the bottom there, your current favorite, big favorite, is Etoile. Etoile, who finished second in this race last year, the 5 horse. Going back down to the rail, the 1, Blame Debbie, Grand Motion, Kazushi Kimura. The 2 horse, Merveilleux, 13-1, taking a little bit of action off the 15-1 in the morning line. I think she's sneaky. I'm going to talk a little bit more about her in a bit. Your longest shot on the board is a Fleet Catherine, the 3 horse, 25-1. The 4, Al Nassim, 12-1, up from a 6-1 morning line. Go to 6, Muta Makina. I think I got that out correctly. 5-1 off the 9-5 morning line. Expect horses price to come down a bit. Christophe Clement shipping in from New York with Dylan Davis scheduled to ride. And on the outside, the 7, Court Return, Josie Carroll with Luis Contreras in the saddle. This horse ran the race of her life last year in the E.P. Taylor Stakes, missed by a neck in that race to Etoile. So let's see what she can do. All right, it's time to bring her in.
Bring her in.
She's ready. I think she's ready. All right.
Hi. Hello, Sheri.
Hello, everybody.
How are we doing?
Oh, hot. We're very hot. But it's beautiful. It's a wonderful day out. I mean, it's way better than rain, right? Or snow or whatever. So
That's for sure.
I shouldn't complain too much.
Well, we're gonna give you the full screen here because we want to take a look at what's behind you. Where are you standing exactly?
There's a lot of planes flying overhead. And they just let us know that the horses are not going to be saddled outside in the walking ring because they're running behind schedule for the broadcasting. So that's why I'm not standing in there. So I'm trying to get a peek of them as they come through the paddock here.
Well, before even taking a look at them, do you have without having laid eyes on them just yet, do you have a horse that you've got in mind here? Look, the favorite's Etoile, right? But 3-5 doesn't make for quite the exciting play here. So where are you? What are you thinking?
What? I'm going to take Blame Debbie, the 1 horse here at 5-1 for Graham Motion and Eclipse Thoroughbred. You know, like there was a heavy favorite earlier that kind of didn't pull through, and I don't know. I think this is a race that you can take some chances. So I'm going to give Debbie a chance.
Now, what do you think? Did you have that 79-1 shot that just won the last race?
No, I had the 2.
Oh.
I was at the rail. I was like screaming. I'm like, come on, 2. But that was the start of the pick 6, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And we have our ticket here. We were showing everybody that by the time we all weighed in, we have a ton of combinations here. We have everyone in this race, with the exception of the 7 Court Return and the 3 of Fleet Catherine. So if you want to bet on comedy, you pick one of those horses.
You know who else I think could be actually quite sneaky in here is the 2 Merveilleux.
Yes, I agree with you. I do,
Distance
absolutely.
is not going to be a problem for her at all.
No, and she had the outside post last out, yeah.
I think she is super, super dangerous. I've put her in my exacta box, and I've got her on all my tickets because I don't know. She's a sneaky one to me, and I'm just hoping that we kind of get those odds, that they stay that way. But I would not leave her out. That's for sure. She looks marvelous. She looks wonderful too. She looks really, really good. And remember, guys, like it's super hot here. So the horses, you're going to see a lot of sweat. It's really hard to determine body language and stuff like that, right? So, but yeah, I definitely would not leave her off the ticket. She looks amazing.
All right, Ren, put that back on the screen. What were you trying to show us there?
Oh, I was showing you that she's talking about Merveilleux. I have one.
Merveilleux.
Yeah, I mean, Jolie Olympica is obviously a really nice horse. She moved barns because she's a horse that needed Lasix and she couldn't really compete in the jurisdiction where she was before. So she next went in against the boys in the Grade 2 King Edward. She didn't finish so well, but she did show some contentiousness early enough to still respect her. And yeah, this filly had the outside post last out. It was only her third try ever on turf. I think the first one was on her debut, and you could just totally, put a line through that. She won the Wonderwear going a mile and a quarter.
Yeah.
And she won it by 3. So I think this is a horse that could, definitely could move forward off that last performance and with a better play.
Look
Happy play day. Happy play.
Oh, that Will, hey.
Hello.
Oh, we've got our crowns on.
I know, you see, right? Very, very fitting for the theme. How are your picks doing, guys?
We just started, but
Yeah,
We haven't lost a race yet.
yeah.
How are your picks going out there? This is an early appearance here by Will. We had you scheduled for 5:30. We'll take an early one.
Well, how crazy was it? The horse that won me my Sovereign Award for Photo of the Year, he was that horse that just won the last race at 79 to 1.
That's awesome.
Crazy? So I had to take a selfie with him in the background. I'll send it to you guys later, but that was like a highlight of my day. That was meant to be.
That's awesome.
And you bet $100 on him too, right?
I wish. My God, I was so busy taking pictures. This is the thing. I'm so busy snapping, and it's like I forget to place the bet, which is anybody of any modicum of sanity would have known to put at least $1 across the board of him. But no, but photos matter more to me. I was just happy to see him win. Oh my gosh, that was super exciting. What's
awesome.
This is the Dance Smartly. So I'm just going to kind of go this way so that you guys can kind of see them parading around. They're going to come out behind me. So,
Sheri, while we wait for the horses to come out, what has it been like there aside from hot? What has it been like? The fans are back. It was, a weird year, obviously, last year. It's been a tough year this year as well. What's the overall vibe and atmosphere like?
It's very different, obviously, because there's a lot of restrictions in place and we're only at half capacity. But you know what? It's so great to see everybody happy and out doing things and having fun. And everybody's being patient because you know what? You have to wait a little bit longer in lines for things. And, everybody's patience seems to be really good. So I think that's kind of one of the biggest things. And kudos to Woodbine. Like they've really done the best that they could given the circumstances. And I really, really give them a lot of credit because it's hard. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
See if I can
That sounds the patience. That sounds just like when you go to Belmont in New York and everybody's really relaxed and calm when you're trying to get to the window and all that. I'm joking.
Yeah. That's the thing. But it's so nice to actually meet people again and just kind of feel some sense of normalcy, right? And to cheer your horses. Like, I was down at the rails screaming my lungs out, and it was fabulous because you kind of forget when you're watching at home what it's like to have that atmosphere, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's been such a treat, and it's just nice to see that it's sold out. Everybody here has a smile, and they're enjoying.
Watch Etoile behind you. Etoile just looked like she got a little excited there for a second.
5.
Yeah.
I would say, Dan, if we're talking about the Dance Smartly, I would say, and to Ellis's question earlier before Sheri came on, if Sheri wants to give some input as well, I would think that you give her the turf race because she capped, winning the series of the Canadian Triple Crown in the Breeder Stakes at 1.5 miles on turf.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Something about Dance Smartly, 1.5 miles?
No, we were trying to be like, well, she's got a namesake race. It's on turf, but she'd been a multiple, big time winner on dirt because back before we had the Tapeta, it was dirt, the Queen's Plate was a dirt race. She won it. She won the Distaff on dirt. So, why is her namesake race on turf? And like I said, I would maybe think of her crowning achievement, getting the Canadian Triple Crown locked up was in the 1.5 mile Breeders'
Correct.
Stakes.
Yeah, I would think so too, because you know what? I mean, that's the difference with our Triple Crown is it's, the last leg is 1.5 miles on turf.
Yeah.
And it's the horses have to be able to run on pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So I would say for sure that's her crowning achievement, right? Like it's remarkable, really, when you think about what they have to go through in those 3 races, and then to finish off the 1.5 miles on a turf surface, which maybe they never even ran on before.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a guess, right? So I think it's a cool thing for her. Like.
Yeah.
Well, I think the sign that things are becoming normal, Sheri, is that it sounds like Pearce International Airport is doing quite well.
I have not seen so many airplanes fly over in 1.5 years. It's crazy. It's like, and it's so funny because even when I was out here with Sienna and her friend on Thursday, we saw one and we were all like, plane. Because you just haven't seen that air traffic. So
all those darn Americans that Canada opened the gates to last month.
They won't let us in yet, but.
All right, Sheri, we know you want to get out there and get a closer look at some of the horses and get your bets in. Before we let you go, and you're going to rejoin us before the Queen's Plate, tell us who you like in the dance smartly. We know you said you like Merveilleux a little bit. Who's your top 2 or 3 here?
We just had another plane. Didn't hear a word.
Who are your top 3?
Plane.
Who are your top 3 horses in here in the dance smartly?
Oh, in here I went. You know what? I actually took 4. I took 1, 2, the Chad Brown horse, Etoile, and the 2 favorites, the 2 outside ones.
Mm-hmm. So that would be.
I don't have a program with me.
Yeah, Muta Makina. We'll forgive you for not remembering that name.
1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 6. That's who I have.
All right, Sheri. Go enjoy. We'll check back in with you in a little bit before the Queen's Plate.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so you see on the bottom of the screen there, let us know who you think will win the Dan Smartly Stakes. Sorry for covering up your face, JD. We're going to take a moment. We're taking a look at the horses right now on the track for the Dan Smartly Stakes. JD, since we did cover you up, why don't you tell us how you see this race unfolding?
Well, I'm kind of in the same camp you are, Dan. If you look back at last year, there were a couple great performances to end the campaign for Merveilleux, and one of them was in the Wonderwear, going 1.25 miles on the same EP Taylor turf course. And I think you really have to look back at what this horse wants to do, and I think going long on the turf might be the answer, and we've only seen it really once. I mean, going the mile in the Nassau, that's not far enough. So I do think Merveilleux has a shot here. So I am 5-2. I think the favorite is going to be tough to beat. But if there's any horse that can beat the favorite in this race, I think it's Merveilleux. And it's not just so we can all say Merveilleux a bunch of times. I remember Ellis taught us all how to say it last year. So
yeah,
so what do you think, Ellis? Did he do a good job with it?
What?
Did he do a good job with it? Did he pronounce it correctly?
I don't think it was me. I think it was your dad.
Oh, it was my dad, actually. Similar to Ellis.
Right.
Yeah, so
thank you.
I believe what my dad said was Merveilleux. So it's the "yeux" that's the tough part. Everything else is more or less logical. What do you think, Ellis? How do you see this race?
Well, first of all, how come nobody's saying Etoile? I don't understand Etoile. I would say Etoile. Because we're talking about Hurricane Henri, we might as well get it all right. Anyway, my top pick's the 4, and I love the 11-1. Al Nassim, that's the horse that I said no matter what was going on our group pick 5 ticket, everything else I agree with. Well, I don't necessarily agree, but I did give in to putting the other horses on there. Al Nassim's an interesting horse. I mean, some big fields back in England and Lingfield and Chelmsford, and a 4th at Ascot in the handicap in July of 2020. Not bad this year. A 4th, a win, a 2nd in the Indiana Distaff. I'm not worried about the 1.25 miles. She's by Chamardal. And I didn't write down the name of the horse, but Chamardal's filly or mare won the 2018 EP Taylor, whoever that was. If someone can look it up or out there, go ahead and tell me who it was, because I forgot. So I'm not worried about getting 1.25 miles. Eddie Vaughn doesn't have many horses in his barn, very competent. I basically played an exacta box of 4-5 and 4-6.
Okay.
So I took the two favorites, and the 6 right now I think is an overlay at 7-2 off a 9-5 line. That's Muda Makina, and the 5 is a Trois. And then we used the 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 in the race. I get slight knocks about Blame Debbie and Merveilleux, but I did default to your guys' opinions. Merveilleux, there's 2 bad races, 5th and 5th. I just don't see an improvement to win. Blame Debbie won the Dowager at Keeneland a mile and a half. Has run okay at a mile and a quarter, but I think the race really goes through Etoile. But Al Nassim, I think, can run really well at 12-1 here.
Yeah, I like where you're at with Al Nassim too. I'm a little surprised at the price. I think it might have something to do with the fact, as you mentioned, Ed Vaughn is the trainer of the horse. Most people, I don't think, will recognize that name. I did a little bit of research and found out he was a trainer in the UK, trained for Phoenix Thoroughbreds, actually, now based in Kentucky, I think with a smaller string, just starting out. But this horse looks like just about, obviously the best one he's got so far. I think she was impressive too back at Churchill. You look at the most recent start, broke from the wide post, was a little slow away, settled down off the pace, raced 3 to 4 wide throughout. And then she was only passed by one horse in the lane, a horse that who'd saved a lot of ground. So I think just visually what I've seen from Al Nassim is super impressive. Very surprised at 13-1, Ellis. I think you're getting an incredible price here. So I hope you're putting some win money on that horse as well. Ren, back to you. How do you see this shaping up, and what are you looking at for maybe an exacta here?
Oh, well, it's hard to limit it to an exact. This is a really tough race. I do think Merveilleux is the horse who could, again, show up at a big price. I agree with you guys' argument for Al Nassim. One of the other things, and you may have mentioned it, I was trying to check out something real quick on here. So if you did, I apologize. But yeah, I mean, she's done little wrong here since coming over to the States. I mean, her first race, poor thing, she has to jump debris, as it says right there in the running line. Etoile, obviously, a lot of class lines in there. You see Juliet Foxtrot also taking mine. Maxim Rate was 5th in that race, and then she came back to win the Grade 1 Gamely Stakes. And then, Muta Makina, I mean, just look at some of the names in her past performances, like Sassas and Adaria, and then what she's done here. So these are all horses that have a legitimate shot. If I had to only narrow it down to the 3, I mean, again, Al Nassim has a ton of upside, being a better price, obviously, than the Chad Brown runner, but I would probably still be weak and, use the 2, 5, and 6.
Okay. Well, you've got a price in there. You'll appreciate this, Ren. Pops it back in, and you'll see today
he put a win away.
he used all in the last leg. So I don't know what this was exactly, but he at least used all in the last leg. So he can't complain like that he used all but one in the last leg or in the third spot. He does confirm that Merveilleux, I believe that's the way we're reading that phonetically. Lots of great comments here. People popping in from all over the place. Yep.
Just, because, I mean, obviously, Muta Makina, Muta is sort of like a prefix in Arabic. But, I think her name, I could be wrong. I think her name is, Dependable Woman or Dependable. It could even be, I think, Machine. I'm trying to look it up. Some of these names have different things. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I know he doesn't know. Your dad doesn't necessarily know Arabic, but I think some of the dialects he does. Oh, he does speak Arabic. Okay, well then.
Well, ask him to look up what Al Nassim means too. Then.
I'm going to ask him if he could explain what Blame Debbie means. I think he might have a harder time with that one than the other. So, but yeah, look, Blame Debbie is one we haven't spoken much about. Grand Motion, obviously, I think always to be feared. I did do a little bit.
Means breeze.
Who's that?
Nassim itself means breeze. So
you're still on that. You're like, you don't even want to talk about Blame Debbie. You're like, I don't care about any of that.
She has a shot.
Motion, though, I just did this search in turf graded stakes at Woodbine. He shipped up 36 horses over the past several years. He's won with 6 of them, which is good. I mean, it's a half a dozen, but it's not exactly like, he's winning with everything he's shipping up. So I don't know. Maybe that's a reflection for the horse being a little cool on the board. Your heavy favorite again is Etoile. The other thing for me with this one was, came back in the Jenny Wiley at Keeneland, finished 4th. She was off Lasix there for that one, back on Lasix here. And again, just in terms of class, she makes a ton of sense. So They're loading into the gate now for the Dance Smartly. Appreciate everyone jumping in with the comments, telling us who you like. The Queen's Plate is next. We're going to show you that race. Let's take one quick look at the Team Pick 5 ticket. We've got all but 3 and 7, so let's hope it's not one of them. Enjoy the Dance Smartly.
Where they race in the Dance Smartly. Blame Debbie on the inside. And coming forward, Merveilleux began okay with the Fleet Catherine, but bursting clear is Al Nassim. Al Nassim has dashed out to the lead. And going up to be second early is on the outside, Mutamakina. A length away in third placing is on the inside, Blame Debbie, followed by a Fleet Catherine. And then Etoile. Merveilleux is second last, and last of all is Court Return as they work up the back stretch in the Dance Smartly, and out in front is Al Nassim. Al Nassim leads the way by a length in second spot. Mutamakina, 1.5 away on the inside is Blame Debbie. A half to a Fleet Catherine, and 2 lengths in behind them is Etoile, travelling easily. 1 away, second last Merveilleux. And last is Court Return, showing the way. Al Nassim. Al Nassim leads by about 3/4. In second, Mutamakina. A length and a half away. Third is Blame Debbie. A Fleet Catherine up on the outside. There's been no change. A couple behind it. 12 edging up. Another couple to Merveilleux, who's second last, and Court Return is last. David Murran in front on Al Nassim by over a length again. Mutamakina tags in second. They've come clear. Inside the 5/8, they've gone out to lead by 3. Blame Debbie in third, a length and a half of Fleet Catherine. To the inside goes Etoile, 2 to Merveilleux, and last is Court Return. Out in front inside the half mile, Al Nassim and Mutamakina, and they've continued on to increase that margin. They've gone out to lead by 5 lengths. Blame Debbie is next. Running up on the inside, Etoile has a lot of horse, but yet to get involved as they come down to the final turn. Out in front, Al Nassim in front in the turn to the Dance Smartly finish. Joined quickly by Mutamakina. Etoile is 4 lengths behind and is starting to rain ground on them now. Out in front, Mutamakina from Al Nassim, and here comes Etoile down the outside. Out in front, Mutamakina being targeted by Etoile, and down the outside, Merveilleux and Court Return. Mutamakina in front. Etoile is all out in second, and then Merveilleux. Mutamakina's got it won. Mutamakina in the Dance Smartly, 3/4 to Etoile. Merveilleux third. Court Return.
What a run!
That was incredible. So my grunt there was I had a big exacta, a 2-6 exacta. I was praying that Merveilleux would get up for second, but she just couldn't straighten out. She was kind of just slugging out a bit and just couldn't really straighten out. Once she actually kind of picked up her stride and got straightened out, she was moving nicely late. She was hammered late, 7-1. I mean, I think she took that late money. Etoile had every shot. I think it was just too far back. I mean, there was really nothing you could do. And Ellis, you must have been feeling real good about Al Nassim.
Right.
What's that? 26, 50, 114.
No excuse.
Wait a second. How is this going to go badly? And then all of a sudden they went the next quarter in 23 seconds flat. Yeah. And she could not go that 23 there. But I gotta say one thing, Mutamakina, Dylan Davis needs to give Al Nassim a thank you card because he got to sit and draft off her the whole time. And then when he spurted clear, they had opened up so far. Yeah. Etoile put in a good kick. I mean, when they come home, they came home in 23, 20, about 24 and change. The last 2 fractions are about 23, 24. And so it was a really good ride by Davis.
I think Al Nassim, and going back to her name real quick, anytime you say Al is just so the breeze, okay? So, and she looked like she was living up to her name there. She broke rank out of that gate, if you saw that, and she bumped. And then she was kind of with her head up. I wonder if a shadow roll would help her because she obviously has a lot of talent.
She's wearing
she wastes a lot of. Is she?
Yes, she's wearing.
Oh, she is. I didn't even notice it because I was looking at her neck the whole time. Her neck was huge.
Maybe she needs a second shadow roll.
Or a figure 8 nose band might help her. Blinkers might help. You know what? Blind, right? I was looking at her profile with her neck hollowed out. I wasn't looking at her nose. I was like, oh, she needs to get her head down.
So look, I am happy that we did at least beat Etoile there for our pick 5 ticket. I would have obviously liked the bigger price. For a moment there, I know we all probably were like, don't do this to us. We saw Court Return making that wide move. I was like, this can't possibly happen. JD, what did you think watching the race unfold?
Well, it's just the soft opening fractions, and really interesting middle of that race, and then the 23 quarter out of nowhere. That was definitely an interesting run for a mile and a quarter. Definitely a very, I should say, a very North American mile and a quarter race. You would not see that development of those quick fractions that early in the race after a slow start if we were talking about Europe or Australia. So it was a very interesting run. And, a lot of people had been talking about Irad coming up, but Dylan Davis comes up on this mount and did a tremendous job drafting the speed.
Well, the next one is the big one. It's the Queen's Plate. We're going to show that one to you. We're going to handicap. We're going to bet. We're going to continue with our drinks, whatever your drink of choice is. Refill right now because we still
I don't know. I haven't even started. I hadn't even had a sip yet, and I can't even see a shadow roll, and I'm suggesting I don't know if I should start drinking.
That's exactly why you should start drinking right away.
You know what? I think I have retinal damage from looking down the canal of Billy Koch's ear.
Oh,
I think that's what's wrong.
Oh God, yeah. If you guys didn't see that last night, worth watching the replay of our Breeders' Cup live show. We got to see a lot of Billy Koch's ear.
Thank goodness that was the only body part.
In the interest of keeping our viewers with us for the next 40 minutes until the Queen's Plate, let's take a look back now at the last 3 runnings of the oldest continuously run race in North America, the Queen's Plate.
Wonder Godot's in front, and she's dashed away in the Queen's Plate, ahead by a century and a second. But there's no doubt who's the best today, and it's all about Wonder Godot, Wonder Woman herself, demolishes them in the Queen's Plate. What a brilliant win.
One bad boy, never looked better, and has got the Queen's Plate well and truly won. One bad boy, 3 lengths.
Mighty Heart is long gone. Mighty Heart has got the Queen's Plate completely wrapped up, and this is a dominant performance. Daisuke Fukumoto, Mighty Heart, full of heart by 8 lengths. Belichick second.
Well, so many great storylines just from the past few years. Of course, Wonder Godot. We talk about fillies. Like if we think about fillies running in the Kentucky Derby or America's big races, right? Or, I mean, you think about like them taking on the boys. It's always a big deal, right? Like, oh, they're taking on the boys. The Queen's Plate, though, there have been 37 fillies to win the Queen's Plate. So it's nothing special or unusual, I would say, when you have, one of the girls beating the boys in the Queen's Plate. And that leads pretty seamlessly, I think, to the single filly in this year's Queen's Plate, and that's the Woodbine Oaks winner, Money for Roe. So they had to supplement her for this race. They paid an additional $25,000 late to get her into the race, obviously demonstrating tons of confidence coming out of that Oaks win. JD, we were live. Yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say one real quick thing. So people also take this in mind to get their wagers in if this, makes them think one way or the other. Her form was just flattered because earlier on the card we saw our Flash Drive, who she beat last out. She came back and won the Grade 3 Colleen earlier on the card. So flatters the form.
Yep. No, it's all, every little bit of information helps. So that definitely helps. JD, what kind of shot do you give Money for Roe here?
I think really it's a good shot, and we've seen this at Woodbine this year. Again, late start to the year, late start to the Triple Crown, but we've seen a lot of the colts that were kind of your front runners, a couple of them either injured or stayed in the States. So what we have here was a very strong female contingent that ran in big fields through the early stakes season. And I do think Money for Roe has a good shot here. I think she has the right running style for this race as well, in that she can be tactical speed right up off of it, or as she did in the Oaks, she can sit behind a little bit and make one run. So she's shown a couple different running styles. Obviously, a lot of tries on the turf. I don't think the turf was for her, but now that she's comfortable with the Tapeta, I don't think that's a problem. But mentioning the turf, obviously this horse has a lot of experience on it. So we may even see Money for Row continue on in the Triple Crown Trail, no matter what happens today, just because we've got the big turf race at the end.
Mm-hmm. Ellis, what do you think of Money for Row?
Well, I think she's 2-1 right now, which is unfortunate. I think she's a standout. I'm going to go on a limb. I mean, we did go deeper on our ticket because anything can happen. 4 out of the last 10, you said 37 overall. 4 out of the last 10 Queen's Plates won by fillies, and all coming out of the Oaks. The Munnings isn't a problem at all. Munnings has had a couple of stakes winners at 10 furlongs. She gets a couple pounds, the 5-pound break. The pattern is very nice since going from Brian Lynch to Kevin Attard, second in the Celine, stretched out to mile and eighth, won the Woodbine Oaks, and now this, the Equibase speed figure is 100, which is tops in the field by a pretty good margin, I think, and even the other figure, whose name I won't mention, no, just kidding, the Buyer figure is also second best in the race, 82. I think everything's right for this filly. I think she has everything there is. I did like Riptide Rock, who's currently 13-1, and I certainly could see it making a smaller women. A Riptide Rock, lightly raced Stronach stable horse, bred to go 1.25 miles, maybe more on dirt. I'm sure Ren will comment, but the Rudimentary Dynaformer will get you 10 furlongs all day long, and so will Stephen Got Even, I believe. Stretching out from 6 to 10 is a bear, but almost like Money for Row, changed trainers and went to Monmouth from Jerry Hollendorfer to Sid Attard, and that was a breakout race. It was the best ever, first on Polly and on Tapeta. And the 2 workouts since are very impressive to me because this is where you're trying to put a lot of stamina into a horse to go 1.25 miles. I mean, you're going half a mile further than you've ever gone before. And Riptide Rock has a 6 furlong work in 1:11 8/10, and then 1:25 8/10, which is 7 furlong. So that pattern off of the race, it just looks really good. So certainly part of my exactas, the Ortiz Serpe. Ortiz was here for Etoile. I'm 100% positive of it. Phil Serpe, a New York trainer, said, "Hey, you're going to be here. Will you ride my horse?" Sure. He's never ridden the horse. That's why she's currently bet down to 7-2 off a 5-1 line. She can get the distance, no question. Bodemeister has a couple of stakes winners on all weather. As a matter of fact, Clayton won the trial and was third in the Queen's Plate a couple of years ago at 1.25 miles. So Safe Conduct can get it. That's why we used him on our group ticket. But mostly it's 6, 7, 1, and then we threw in 1, 2. We threw in the 2 Harlan Estate, I think, because Ren liked it. I couldn't argue. Attard's got 4 here.
I love Harlan Estate. We'll get on the same page again.
And I'll quick. The last one we threw in was the 10 Dance Samo, who either Sheri or Ren liked. I can't remember.
It was both of us, I think. Like we liked him as an upset potential.
But for me, it's right now 5-2. I think at 3-1, I'm going to go make a significant win bet on Money for Row because I think she pretty much sticks out here. And I already bet some exactas and tries keying Money for Row on top of the other 4 I mentioned.
Well, I think I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ren, I want to get your take on this, but first, I just want to, since we've spoken so much about Money for Row, I just want to take a quick look back at what Money for Row did in the Woodbine Oaks.
Money for Row, the outside looming. Turning in the Oaks, and Money for Row races up to Emmeline. Money for Row in front. Money for Row from Emmeline. Back in third is Il Malocchio, and it's Money for Row and Emmeline going on. Il Malocchio down the outside, but it is Money for Row. Money for Row and Justin Stein have the Woodbine Oaks. Money for Row by a length. Close for second.
To me, the most interesting thing about that race is it was on the same card as the plate trial that Adelman's coming out of, and they went over 2 seconds faster. So the fillies did. So I find that quite interesting. I think she has a shot. I didn't go with her on top. I'm going 2-1-10-7. If you're going to use anything but in a super, is what I ended up doing personally. But
why do you love the 2?
The 2. I think this is a horse. He's gonna. I know he's by Cantheros, but he's out of an Arch mare. Arch won the Super Derby at 1.25 miles. You got some really good pedigree credentials on the bottom side of the, what the female families has produced as well, including this is the family responsible for producing Stormbird, but also Northern Net. Northern Net was second in the 1977 Queen's Plate herself. So he's got a really nice pedigree. I think he's obviously been moved to the barn of Kevin Attard because he's eligible for this race, and because he had been running out there at in California. And one of the things that, I mean, I know he was fifth, but he was only being 4.25 lengths in the Pasadena Stakes. And that is behind Rock Your World, who, as we know, went on to put up a 100 Beyer figure, winning the Santa Anita Derby over your eventual Kentucky Derby winner, Medina Spirit. So he's got all these credentials coming for him. I think the stretch out in distance, getting back on turf, is going to be the key here. And I don't think they moved him all the way from California up to Toronto for no other reason than to target this specific race. And of all the Attard horses, that's the one that I'm looking at. And I like that Kimura is sticking aboard. Obviously he's a more than capable jockey. He's ridden him a couple of times. He's ridden a couple of other horses a couple of times, but he's here. So this is the horse I like most in the race itself.
So Kimura, of course, one of the leading riders at Woodbine. The horse is actually co-owned by NHL player Eric Johnson.
That's right.
As well.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I meant to say one other thing. And I like the way, that pace was not exceptionally hot or anything. And he closed and got up for the win over Dan Samo, who I think was well met. Dan Samo, the thing with him, he's so big. I don't know if you noticed that watching the replay. He's a really big horse. So I think every week that goes by that Dan Samo can grow into himself and balance himself out is going to be beneficial. That's part of the reason why I like him in the top three. But I wanted to bring that up as well. So, okay, I'm sorry, Dan.
We're going to back that up with visuals, because we actually have a replay of that last allowance race with Dan Samo and Harlan Estate. So let's take a look back.
Dan Samo tackled by Upstart Gentleman, down the outside Lumberjack, and Harlan Estate running on, but Dan Samo gives them something to chase. Harlan Estate on the inside, a furlong to run. Dan Samo being tagged by Harlan Estate on the rail. Dan Samo holding, Harlan Estate flying, Harlan Estate coming, Dan Samo in front. A photo between Dan Samo and Harlan Estate.
And I misspoke. Obviously, I didn't mean to say getting back on turf. He's on the synthetic still, but getting him to go longer. It's been a long day. You know, Dan, I was up late.
Start drinking now. Just
plow it.
Just start throwing it back. So look, the thing about that, Harlan Estate wins by a nose there, and you mentioned the pace was really slow, but not just that. Harlan Estate also made a middle move that he sustained. He then slowed down significantly into the turn because he had to find running room. And to make a middle move, stop, and then re-engage that way, I think to me was visually super, super impressive. Want to take a quick look at the live odds here. Harlan Estate is 19-1. Just as Ellis is going to put a big win bet on his horse, Money for Row. I think I'm going to do a big win place bet on Harlan Estate, 19-1. If that price stays somewhere near that, I don't anticipate it dropping significantly. Harlan Estate seems like a good play. And how about Dan Samo taking more money, 9-1, than Harlan Estate? I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
J.D. and Ellis, I want to go back to you for quick commentary on those two horses in particular. But first, we've got Sheri back live with us at Woodbine. Sheri, what do you think?
It's still hot. What a race that Dan Smartley was, eh? Wow.
Yeah.
That was incredible. Merview was coming. She just got going a little bit too late, but she's one you got to keep your eyes on, I tell you.
Yeah.
The horses aren't entering into the walking ring just yet, but all the connections are here. I'm going to flip my phone around actually for you guys. I was practicing that so that you could actually kind of see what it looks like here. So just bear with me.
Nice.
All right. There we go. You are in. Beautiful. Ren, if we're still hungover, this shot is not doing us any favor.
Right? Oh my gosh, no, that's funny. Oh, another quick little note to make. That first race back off the lap for Harlan Estate, the first race there at Woodbine, The horse who was fourth that day, Tio Magico, he next won the Queenston Stakes, put up an 86 buyer figure. So if you want to add that to your information arsenal, I think that's worthwhile. And as far as safe conduct, I know Ellis was talking about the pedigree and taking to synthetic, and I agree even further beyond what was already mentioned in the relatives to safe conduct. In addition, I would also mention the female family is responsible for the likes of Pink Lloyd. So we know what Pink Lloyd's done there on the synthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a horse, obviously. She should take to it fine.
JD, Ellis, by the way, Sheri, love that look around the paddock. If you could hang with us for a few more minutes, awesome. To see some of the horses coming in. JD, let's start with you. We've talked a little bit about Harlan Estate here, Dan Samo. Do you like that race? Or I mean, I think you either got to like both those horses or maybe not like both those horses. What do you make of them?
Yeah, I like that race. And I think really for Dance for Samo, Patrick Husbands was learning that horse. That horse was pulling hard early, seemed to want to be on the pace, even though that's not something we've necessarily seen through the running lines. Kind of had to calm Dan Samo back, then got clear in the stretch and just didn't have enough yet to finish it. But I think Patrick Husbands is a great jockey, and he took a lot out of that ride. So getting back up on the horse here for Grand Motion is important. That was the first trip in Canada, obviously first trip on the synthetic. Lots of first there for Dan Samo. And I think Harlan Estate was probably set up by some of that we saw there that wasn't sitting too far off, wasn't an incredibly fast pace. Pearson Airport, everybody. And really took advantage of that. I would say I like Dan Samo a little more than Harlan Estate. I also don't think Harlan Estate ever got past Dan Samo, even looking at the gallop out. I think it was a bob of all bobs.
I hate gallop outs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she called me out on it yesterday. So wait, JD,
people, sometimes it means something. Once a jockey alters his position at all, his balance in the saddle, it completely can change up a horse's gait. So that's why, to me, unless I'm really just looking, does a horse look like he still has energy? Gallop outs don't mean anything generally for me. I won't say all the time, generally.
JD, was that like a songbird beholder, like the horse? I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't that crazy, but that's how I look at it. Is I don't think Dan Samo ever saw Harlan Estate. And I think it was a bob of all bobs.
Fair enough. Love everyone commenting right now, dropping their picks in, letting us know who you like in the Queen's Plate. Keep them coming. Let us know who you like, who you think's going to win, who you're betting, how you're betting. We're taking a look now from from the racetrack feed here. We can see some of the horses inside the saddling enclosure. They're going to be out where Sheri's standing momentarily. Ellis, want to go back to a horse that you mentioned briefly here, Safe Conduct, the horse that comes in from New York for Phil Serpy. Phil Serpy has actually had a Queen's Plate starter before. It was back in 2003. This is kind of a little bit of an odd one here. 18 years later, Safe Conduct. This is a horse who broke his maiden at Saratoga last summer at 16-1, and then showed up at an allowance at Belmont at odds of 38-1. And I want to take a look back at what happened in that race.
Safe Conduct running in second. Space Launch is on the outside, and just in behind is Public Sector and Colton's Command. 3/4 went in 112. The field is in the stretch. Restored Order has dropped back. Passed now by Safe Conduct, who's in front. Space Launch running in second. Public Sector up on the outside into third. It is Safe Conduct to pull off the upset here. It is Safe Conduct, who won by almost 3 lengths.
You like that one?
Well, I mean, the reason I used him, I wouldn't normally have put this horse on the ticket, but the one you just showed got a 99 Equibase speed figure, and then he stayed in the Pennine Ridge, which came off the turf, so it stops. I drew a line through it.
Yep.
And the Belmont Derby was up close and faded. The reason I liked him is because I saw that stat again that Clayton, who was by Bodemeister, ran third in the trial and won the third in the Queen's Plate and won the plate trial. Also won the that one or another one won the John Battaglia back in 2018. I wanted to back though because I know JD commented. I want to go back to your Harlan Estate Dan Samo, and I'll start by saying I love you guys, but then I also want to say I wouldn't use these horses on my ticket, but we decided to go on a group ticket. Especially now that I saw that replay, which I hadn't before. I mean, I think Harlan Estate and Dan Samo are just kind of slow plotters. That was a really interesting race. They went slow, and one got by the other just barely. It'd be nice if they improve enough to win, and certainly you got odds, and that's one reason why you play some horses and pick 5 and try to spread when you get the money for a group ticket, which we did. But they wouldn't have been on my ticket if I was playing one by myself.
Wow, Ellis is really like not letting go of this. Like he's like still like super bitter about using these horses. Like, dude, all it's going to take is for one of them to come through. By the way, loving the video that Sheri's providing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, can I tell you the safe conduct? He looks so good. He looks so good. It's one other like point to make about his pedigree also is his dam is a half sister to Fatal Bullet. Y'all remember him?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And something else to mention too. So did you guys mention? Obviously, we know how good Public Sector is, who he beat, or kind of trounced actually that day. Public Sector just recently won the Hall of Fame there at Saratoga. So.
One horse I want to bring up here, Dan. The third choice in the betting right now is the 11 Avo Man, and we had talked to Antonio Gallardo that day of the plate trial. I think really you have to throw out the times in a 4-horse race like that. It's so much a rider's race at that point. But I think we did grill Antonio a little bit if he thought that this horse was going to be able to make the 1.25 miles, and he didn't seem to think this horse had a problem. So interesting to see the Avo Man sitting right about the morning line. They're 8-1, but is your plate trial winner going into this race?
Sheri, I don't know if you can hear us. We have got sort of side-by-side angles here of your view and the track view. Tell us what you're looking at right now.
I am still looking at the body language of all the horses. They are all getting a drink of water and a little bit of a wash down just to help them keep their cool. But everybody's super, super well behaved. Very, very nice looking group here. There are a couple that I think that really stood out. Title Forces looked fantastic. I'm just flipping my camera here.
Okay. Are there any owners that are especially well dressed who look more ready for a photo than the others?
Oh, that's right. Billy Patrick factor.
Yeah.
There's Riptide Rock. We did have a conversation about this one. Stronach Stables, by the way, have won
he's the horse. That horse, he is, like Ella said, that horse is bred to go long. And so the fact that he was able to get up in a race that wasn't run particularly fast early to win and, win by, with some space between he and second place, sprinting, putting up an 88 buyer figure in his first try over synthetic. I think this is a horse you definitely would not want to leave off any of your tickets now that he gets to get more ground. He looks pretty dangerous to me, to be honest with you.
Who was that, Ren, you were talking about?
Riptide Rock, the 7.
Oh, Riptide Rock. Yeah, he looked fantastic. He looked really good. You know who else really caught my eye, actually, is the filly, Money for Roe.
Yeah.
She looked really good. Really, really good. I mean, they all look good. You know what I mean? But that's why
it's a $1 million race.
But, like, she's just happy and, she looks like she's got her game face on. She really kind of stands out a bit. Her and the 1 Title Forces, and actually the 5, that's HC Holiday, right? Yeah, looks fantastic as well.
We've talked a little bit about I think a number of the horses here. Hadassah, Title Forces, Keep Grinding is one we haven't spoken all that much about. A big storyline here is that the horse is owned by 17-year-old Joshua Tard. The horse, I believe, is trained by his grandfather, and
yes.
his dad is Kevin. Of course, we've got 4 other runners in this race. The family has never won this race.
But wait, not as a trainer. It won the Larry Tard, Kevin's uncle, one of the brothers. He won the Queen's Plate in 1983 aboard Bompago.
Oh, well, okay. So not as a trainer.
As a jockey.
For the fact check. No, that's good information. The other thing that's kind of interesting about this horse from like a storyline perspective is that There's like a story floating around that the horse was named like sort of as a nod to Mitch Marner, who of course plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who's Sheri's favorite team. Wink, wink.
You said Winnipeg Jets wrong.
I know. We're just messing with you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I
see Dan Samo on the screen right now. How big is that horse in person? He looks just huge.
Who?
Dan Samo.
Dan Samo, where are you? Yeah, he is huge. Yeah, I know. Really caught my eye. Yeah. Do you want me to get a closer picture for you?
Well, while you're headed that way, I want to take a look back just real quick at one of the horses we talked about again a minute ago. Keep Grinding, Title Forces, Hadassah. They all faced off a few races ago. Let's take a look at how that race turned out.
On the outside in third placing, Easy Time, frosted over right behind them, and coming forward is Keep Grinding. Candy Overloads 2 away last. Hadassah the one to run down. They go to the quarter, Hadassah in front. Easy Time to second. Title Forces is starting to weaken on the inside, frosted over, then Keep Grinding. Easy Time runs to the front, goes past Hadassah, and down the outside, Keep Grinding. Hadassah trying to fight back, but out in front, Easy Time. And down the outside, Keep Grinding is finishing well. Easy Time in front. Easy Time by a length to Keep Grinding. Easy Time having a very easy time in the Marine Stakes. Easy Time by a length and a half to Keep Grinding. Hadassah.
Ren, I want your take on that. We've gone back and forth a few times on a horse on the rolling lead in the stretch. Was that horse tired or just green?
You know what? I was looking at the odds, so I missed the stretch run there. So I'm sorry. I did not know but I will say this, and I was thinking to myself as I'm hearing Hadassah, I'm like, that confuses me so much because we all know who Hadassah is, right? And the story of Purim, and she married Xerxes or Ahasuerus. So the fact that there's a boy horse named Hadassah, it confuses me every time. So yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't see the replay.
Well, we love the history lesson too.
Oh, you're welcome.
All the viewers, absolutely. Anyway, here's your close-up look here from Sheri of Dan Samo.
Look at that horse. Look at that horse.
He looks spectacular.
Unbelievable. Like,
yeah.
And he's huge. I mean, that's a big horse.
Yeah, he looks amazing. Looks spectacular. And
yeah,
I like how he looks right at me. That's kind of cool. I like it when horses do that, right? It's kind of like, you make that little connection, kind of, hey?
Right.
Link, right?
Is there anybody else you guys want to have a look at while I got you?
I'm watching that replay for you now, Dan. Again, I'm sorry because I feel like it's a dereliction of duty here.
Well, JD mentioned Avoman and HC Holiday a little bit about the plate trial. We haven't really given that one. We haven't talked about that one all too much. I do want to take a look at the stretch run here momentarily, but first, Sheri, if you're near Avoman, we'll take a look. If you're not, we can wait. There you go. Okay, Sheri on the spot. All right,
very,
so there's
very calm. Very calm. Yeah.
That's your plate trial winner. This horse is posted in 83 and 84 buyers in 2 races back to back. Again, I think produced probably his best late run in that plate trial. Don McRae, the trainer who's won the plate trial, won the plate trial. Let me see. Has he won? Has he actually won the Queen's Plate before? I don't think so, right?
I don't believe so, no.
And I just finished watching that replay again for you, Dan. I don't think he was tired. I think he was coming up toward the horse in front of him and just switched leads out of getting mentally distracted by that.
So we'll call it green.
Green, sure. I mean, relatively lightly. I mean, I don't want to call him lightly race, but relatively.
Sheri, love this view. We got you up full screen right now. Riptide Rock, the horse that Ren and Ellis have talked about a little bit here.
I'm sorry. Good luck, Carlos. Your horse looks great.
Oh, we should have had Sheri sneak in and get all the instructions from the trainers.
Yeah. Can you eavesdrop.
these airplanes are getting some great views of the paddock at Woodbine.
Yeah.
The airplanes are unbelievable, eh?
So we're taking a look now at some of the horses coming out of the paddock, heading out to the track for the Queen's Plate. As we've mentioned a number of times, we would love to know who you think will win the Queen's Plate. Drop your picks in the comments. We've gotten so many great comments already. Safe Conduct fans. We've got people giving us their trifecta plays. How about this? A little love from Barbados for your trainer Carlos Grant and Dursky with his first Queen's Plate starter. Speed figures are great for Safe Conducts. Just again, people just dropping their picks in. Cliff likes Hadassah a little bit, despite the fact that it makes Ren laugh. Cliff thinks it could happen. Our boy Sean Patrick Nolan, take a chance and keep grinding. Jose here likes the 3-horse a little bit, so a lot of support for Hadassah.
And one horse we saw pass by there, Dan, was the 9 Go Charge, and in this race. But one thing I'll mention on Go Take Charge is to 2016 Break Winter Creek. It's a little interesting twist there.
All right. So, Sheri, you've done incredible work. We're going to let you go out there and enjoy this race real quick. Your top 3 horses are?
Awesome. My top 3, Money for Roe, Dance Samo, and Hadassah.
All right. Go get that money, Sheri.
All right, guys.
Bye,
Thank you for
Sheri.
having me.
All right. We'll see you soon. Enjoy.
My sister's name is Sheri. I love the name Sheri.
Sheri was great. Those were great views. I mean, I just absolutely love that. All right. So I said we would take a look back at the plate trial since JD gave some love to Avo Man. Let's take a look back at that plate trial.
Going for the lead, Truffle King with Avo Man to Tez Dursky, who's hard at it. HC Holiday presented with a chance to come to the rail, but that closed, and now comes 4 wide, 3 abreast. Avo Man on the outside with Truffle King, and on the rails, Dursky. They match up, and HC Holiday trying to run the trio down. Avo Man in front, a bump there for Truffle King. Avo Man got the advantage, and it's Avo Man coming away in the plate trial from Truffle King, HC Holiday, and Avo Man with something left by a length. Truffle King 2 lengths to HC Holiday third.
So maybe we've given him short shrift here. We haven't really talked too much about him, and he's 8-1 right now, which maybe is a little surprising for your plate trial winner. Anybody want to make a case for or against Ellis?
Well, let's say this. First of all, the plate trial, I think less horses than the last 10 years have gone from the plate trial to win the plate than fillies have won the plate trial out of the plate out of the Oaks. So we got 4 for 10 fillies in the last 10 years, and you got to go back 12 years, and 2 of the last 12 runnings of the plate have been won by the plate trial winners. So it's not a race that really, I think, leads to a winner. I was going to use the horse on the ticket, and when we had to cut a little bit, I just thought he just didn't seem to have it. Old Forster's okay. The pattern's good. But in terms of the final, not the first thing I look at, the last speed figures, his 85 and 90 from his last 2 do not match up to Money for Rose 192. They don't even match up to Riptide Rocks 94 and Safe Conduct's 99 if he goes back to that turf race we saw him post the upset in. So Avo Man is 4th best at best here, and that's the reason I left him off the ticket.
I think the key with that race, Dan, when we looked at the replay, obviously, and Truffle King was DQ'd and placed 4th, but Truffle King with the straight path wins that race, ducks into a horse, loses momentum. And, Avo Man, while winning that race, I don't think was the best horse in that race. And HC Holiday was obviously the favorite in that race and had an outside trip, had a little bit more of an excuse. I would take HC Holiday at 31-1 or whatever it is over Avo Man at 8-1 right now.
Absolutely. That's absolutely. Bet $5 on that horse. I would not want to be kicking myself. 6-5 1, 3-2 1 race, and then 30-1 the next race.
All right, so I'm gonna kick us off here and like just get on the record with it. I'm Harlan Estate on top. I'm gonna follow that up with Safe Conduct, and then a horse that I haven't spoken much about, Tidal Forces. I think Tidal Forces got a shot to hit the board. I'm gonna use Tidal Forces third, and then I'm gonna go Dan Samo fourth. So I am 2-1, 12-10 in the Queen's Plate. Ren?
2-1, 10-7 here from me.
Ooh, what's up with us landing on the same horses lately?
I don't know. Maybe even. I mean, I don't know. We're simpatico. I will say, Riptide Rock's looking a little warm, right? Because that's why if it looks like I'm not paying attention, I am listening to you guys, but I'm watching post parade right now, and he looks a little warm to me. I don't know if it's just the size factor that it has me mesmerized, but Dance Mode again just looks fantastic. The Safe Conduct looks like a graded stakes type. Harlan Estate looks good. Dance Mode's looking a little warm. I will say that now. But dear goodness, the hip, this is a big horse.
Hey, Rand, wouldn't you expect the horses to be really warm? I mean, the heat index is like over 100.
It's hot. No, for sure. And so long as we're not seeing the latherin sweat, latherin, and I'm not saying lathering, although it looks like it is a lather. Latherin sweat, which is a protein sweat, is where it really is kind of, the horse getting overheated a bit. So I'm not seeing that on anybody yet.
I'm definitely working on a good protein sweat right now. I'll tell you that much. I've got heavy protein sweat going on right now.
Cool off, Dan. Cool off.
Oh, man. Oh, there you go.
671. So everybody's getting that numbers. Mine's 671.
So you can add a fourth horse. I mean, this is a big field. We'll let you throw in a fourth horse.
Supers.
Yeah, the 4.
The 4.
The 4.
He's going to take a chance.
Wait, yeah, tell us why you're taking a chance on Take a Chance.
The Munnings. That's the same sire as Money for Row. Mile and a quarter. If it, just get the distance is all I really want at this point to get in there for second, third, or fourth underneath.
Well, he's got Medaglia d'Oro on the bottom.
Oh, yeah. So everything. And Catherine Day Phillips, no knocks. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
To get third or fourth at big
Yeah,
price.
especially in this race. I mean, I can't remember a year in recent years where there hasn't been a horse over 50-1 hit the top 4. I mean, there's always a horse 50, 60-1 that at least hits the board in this race or finishes top 4. So, JD, how about you? What's your top 4?
I am 10, 6, 12, and 8. And we haven't really talked. We talked a little bit about Keep Grinding. Like you said, we haven't talked much about Tidal Forces. He makes your third and is third in my spot as well. Emma Jane Wilson up. I think we're still not seeing the best of Tidal Forces, really trying to figure out what this horse wants to do. Obviously broke the maiden on turf. He's tried a couple times on Tapeta. The Marine race was such a interesting run race. We haven't really talked about that. No one really wanted the lead. Tidal Forces kind of had to go out there. Wasn't necessarily what he wanted to do. Emma Jane tried to settle and stalk the pace, but just not the day for Tidal Forces. Then I think there's some improvement to be had here. So I'm willing to take a chance and put Tidal Forces in my top 4 here.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that too. I mean, it definitely. It was one of those races where you could tell with Tidal Forces in the Marine where, he sort of inherited the lead early, didn't want to be there, as you pointed out. And it was an oddly run race. And so the horse tried to yield and then tried to re-rally. I think there's a lot of upside there. Emma Jane Wilson, as you mentioned, won the plate 2007 aboard Mike Fox. And, this horse who started his career at Gulfstream, winning a race on the turf, then came back, won an allowance, very next race over the all-weather. We haven't seen this horse make many mistakes, right? The only loss here is in that weird race last out. And so if you're going to take a chance on a horse, I don't see any problem taking a chance on Tidal Forces at 10-1. I mean, I think the price is super square. As expected, look, the horse on the rails taking a lot of play right now. Oh, live guest coming in. Will, can you hear us?
Hey, hi guys. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes.
3 minutes to post. Show us your view.
For sure. So this is the Grandstand, the Great Woodbine Grandstand right behind me. You can see it's a very full crowd, but not at capacity, obviously due to safety reasons. But this is an amazing turnout. So happy to be here and that the fans can actually be here. It was so lonely last year coming to the plate, and it was just owners and it was like crickets. But we've more than made up for it this year.
Will, we know that's just you flexing that you got to be there last year when no one else was able to go.
Yes, you got me. So how are your picks doing?
We're hanging in. We're still alive. We're taking a look now at our Queen's Plate pick 5 sequence here. This is the second leg. So we have 1, 2, 6, 7, and 10 in this race. 1, 2, 6, 7, and 10. That'll be your favorite. Safe Conduct on the rail. Harlan Estate, the 2 horse. Money for Row, the 6. Riptide Rock, the 7. Dance Some Mo, the 10. Will, who has caught your eye out there?
Well, I felt the 1 looked really good, Safe Conduct. And I mean, just that last frame of reference, he was only a few lengths behind Bolshoi Ballet. I mean, that's, it's a very evenly matched field with that frame of reference even. I mean, hey, how do you bet against that? And Irad came all the way here to Toronto doing, all the COVID testing and everything. So he must have confidence in that horse too, to make it across the border for him. But also, I'm a huge fan of Harlan Estate. I really think he's peaking at the right time. And I think Kazushi Kimura, he is so hot right now. There's nothing he cannot do. So I know unconventional, but I'm picking the 2 rail horses.
I love that. I love it.
You're with us. You're with us.
Yay! Well, I want to share that pot. So if you guys are lucky enough to score, but I think you guys will. You seem to have all the key contenders there. So
we're all about it. We're all about it. So Harlan Estate is a player for you. You like the horse on the rail, of course. Just tell us real quick before we let you go. You talked about the atmosphere a little bit.
Yeah.
What is it like there specifically? This year there are fans back this year. Do you feel like we're back? Are we halfway there? Are we 3/4 of the way there? What do you feel?
I'd say we're almost there. Now, key thing with the Queen's Plate coming every year, they have these cool vendors. They have all these little activations. Unfortunately, they due to safety reasons, they weren't part of the plate this year. But, that's a big part of the festivities. But, I mean, you still feel the same energy in this crowd. If I just flip that camera for 1 second just so you can look.
Let's see it.
Yeah. I don't know if can you see it? I've just flipped the cam. Oh no, I turned the cam off. That's what I did. How do you flip the cam from here? Let me figure this out. Is there a way to do this?
Look at us millennials struggling with technology.
I'll just show you. There you go.
All right. Yep, we see it.
It's a pretty packed house. So yeah.
I love it. The crowd.
Super excited to see how this goes. The race is going off in 0 minutes.
All right. Well, we'll let you get to work. You do an incredible job, Will.
Sure.
We love you. We miss you.
You.
We hope to see you in person soon, hopefully.
Absolutely. Saratoga next year. I'll see you there at the Shake Shack. Bye, guys.
Bye, Will.
Bye, Will.
Nice chatting with you. Happy plate.
Happy plate day.
I got a quick prediction, Dan. I forgot to mention. We're talking about pace, right?
Uh-huh.
I predict Riptide Rock. David Moran, very aggressive, takes the lead.
I think that's very possible. I mean, look, if this horse steals the race on the front end, I'll be a little upset because my tickets are going to all lose because I've kind of thrown Riptide Rock out. But I'll be happy for our team ticket because we'd be moving on with.
I'd say he's going to hang around because I think Money for Row runs him down. Let me quick comment. You're looking at the running lines for those, and you're looking at PPs. Money for Row did something really isn't done often, especially on Topita. She was 6, 2 1/4 back with a 1/4 mile to go, and she was in front by a half length at the 8th pole. And that's a Kentucky Derby type move. And no other horse has that kind of kick and gear when she does it. Plus also Stein got off Riptide Rock and keep grinding to ride Money for Row.
All right. We do have a lot of Carlos Grant supporters here. I would imagine I'm seeing right now that there are currently across our channels 420 people watching us live right now. I'm thinking about 415 of them are related to Carlos Grant or super fans at least.
So here we go. I can say something positive about Dursky here, Dan.
Let's hear it.
Last year we saw Mighty Heart drawn out wide, go for the lead, and I think Dursky's going to try the same tactic here.
Okay.
That's the positive thing I can say. I don't think it's going to last long.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Well, I mean, they have no choice, right? I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to try to stalk 7 wide? I mean, they've got to make a move, right? The only thing that's a little strange is that the blinkers are coming off here. So, who knows? But look, Carlos Grant is a trainer who's had success He's winning at about 15% right now. And he's done a nice job with this horse in particular. So, let's see if he could pull a shocker at 68 to 1. I mean, look, I'm surprised the horse is 68 to 1 just by seeing like proportionally how many of our viewers are Carlos Grant fans here. And like if they were actually betting, the horse should not be 60. 70 to 1 now. All right, so all the money coming in, especially the late money here on Safe Conduct down on the rail, will go off as your Queen's Plate favorite in 2021. Safe Conduct for Phil Syrupy with Irad Ortiz aboard. You can see now there's the 6-horse Money for Row, your Oaks winner on the outside, the 12 loading, and they're just about all loaded. That's Title Forces going in. We got 1 or 2 more left. Did someone act up there?
13 kind of hopped, but
okay,
going in last, I believe. As soon as they grab the shank. There you go.
Okay. All right. By the way, our ticket 1, 2, 6, 7, 10 here in our pick 5. Good luck to everyone playing
They're
and
all
watching.
in and locked up.
Here it is.
Ready, and they're off in the 162nd running of the Queen's Plate. The first leg of the OLG Canadian Triple Crown, and Take a Chance best away. A bit slow was Dancer Mo, and going up in front, Take a Chance towards the inside. On the rail, Safe Conduct. Hadassah trying to relax in the center, and going forward on the outside is Go Take Charge. Going up out wider is Title Forces. Back on the rails, Highlander stayed about 6th. Keep Grinding in the center, followed by Money for Row as they go past the wire the first time. Dursky caught a bit wide. A length away came Mavo Man, then HC Holiday, and back on the outside is Dancer More. And as they turn out the stretch, about 6 lengths covers the field, and Riptide Rock is last. Stacking them up, and Take a Chance and Kevin Nichols the leader. Take a Chance in front, and racing off the inside. Safe Conduct for a right. Ortiz Jr. in second. 1 away third, Hadassah with the perfect position on the inside. 1 away fourth, Go Take Charge from Money for Row. Highlander Stake, Keep Grinding, making ground. Racing wider, Title Forces. 2 lengths away, Avo Man. In behind them, Dursky, Dancer Mo, HC Holiday, and last is Riptide Rock. Take a Chance in front. 4.5 furlongs left to run. Only 3/4. Safe Conduct second. 1.5. Hadassah's had the run of the race. Go Take Charge on the outside. A length away, Money for Row. Up the rail, Highlander State. Keep Grinding 3 wide. In behind them, Avo Man, Title Forces, HC Holiday, Dursky, Dancer Morse well back. And last is Riptide Rock, and they continue on in front. Take a Chance and Safe Conduct. 3 furlongs to run in the Queen's Plate. Take a Chance holding on. In second, Safe Conduct. A length away, Hadassah. Coming with a run is Keep Grinding. And here comes Safe Conduct to go to the front. Keep Grinding issues the threat. Around the outside goes Title Forces. And trying to get a run is Hadassah on the inside. Money for Rose finishing on. Safe Conduct at the top of the stretch. Joined by Keep Grinding. Hadassah down in the center. Running is Avo Man. It's now Keep Grinding coming. Safe Conduct. Keep Grinding. HC Holiday down the outside as well with Money for Row. But Safe Conduct in front. And here's Riptide Rock.
Get him, Rock!
Rock flying down
Get him,
the
Rock!
outside. I think photo in the Queen's Plate. Back in third is HC Holiday. Behind.
Did he get up?
I don't know.
I don't
You know
know.
what's so funny is I
don't think he did. I think it's this. I think it's inside.
Yeah, I think it was the inside. And Ren, I was with you. Harlan Estate. I was
He couldn't get out. He could not get out.
He finally got out, but just didn't have it.
Hey, we all picked well here. We all picked well. Our horses all ran. And as for Dancer Mo, he had such a bad start out of the gate. So
I predicted he'd be in front, and he was last.
I know, right?
HC Holiday.
Lying. But watch the 10. Watch the 10 here. Watch how bad a break this is.
He lost at the break. It's up in the air. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was over early.
That was bad. But look at the bumping that's going on. I believe that's between Money for Row and also your horse that came flying late. They all bumped. They sandwiched Riptide Rock there. Coming out of the gate. And a great call. I mean, Ellis, I think you were on this horse a little bit, but it stands out to me that J.D. was making the case for HC Holiday, and HC Holiday splits horses here, and really, or actually doesn't split horses, comes a little bit wide there, and makes a nice move to finish third at a big price, 30 to 1. So great call there, J.D.
If HC Holiday can ever get a trip, because that was another case where HC Holiday did amazingly well with a terrible trip.
Yeah. I didn't watch him all the way around. What also stood out to me, and Ren, let me know if you noticed this coming out of the gate as well. Hadassah, our favorite horse, looked like he wanted to go to the lead. Looked like he wanted the front end and was really restrained and was very headstrong.
I mean, the thing with Hadassah, I had written on my PPs too far, underline. So I think for that horse, a horse that is bred for speed, bred to be shorter anyway than a mile and a quarter, I think they should have let him go. But yeah, I'm not embarrassed of our pick, Dan, at all. I thought Harlan Estate ran really well. I mean, he bottled up, couldn't get out, took some abuse trying to, and then, kind of got discouraged right there in those final strides to not get a piece of the pie. But the one he looked every part of graded stakes horse before the race. This isn't an official graded stakes race because of the restricted nature of it, but he is now a Queen's Plate winner, the 162nd running of the Queen's Plate. Congratulations to all the connections.
How about, we're getting a lot of comments here about Irad Ortiz. I mean, how ridiculous. I mean, how good is Irad Ortiz? I mean, look, this horse was an allowance winner stateside. I mean, he takes this trip up. Ellis, you made the point, you thought that he was up to ride Etoile, and I think on paper, she obviously was a class of that Dan Smartley field. It comes up a little short there, but then just expert riding here. Had every opportunity to make that move by take a chance earlier, and any other rider in that situation probably pulls the trigger a little earlier. He waited for the precise moment at which he needed to make that move, and he has just enough late to hold off Riptide Rock.
Yeah, that was a great ride. And I want to say, for those people that talk about late odds changes, Safe Conduct went in the gate at 2-1 and crosses the line at 3-1. So I don't know who else shifted the other way, but if you had money on Safe Conduct, you just got a nice bonus on the odds.
I mean, as somebody named Leslie Chung has commented saying, wow, 3-1, what a gift. And you got to agree with that. 3-1 on a horse who has this type of credentials coming into the race with those company lines. He made a lot of sense. That's why I was going to try to beat him. I was actually surprised that he was 5-1 on the morning line. So I thought he was going to go off as your favorite, just the Irad factor, Irad factor and everything else. But I would call 3-1 a gift on him.
But did David Moran ride a good race after getting squeezed and just relaxing the entire way and then just letting his horse pick up steam? Yes.
It was like they knew what we saw there with the pedigree, Ellis. They knew this horse was bred to go long. They knew he was able to sit and relax and then power on home despite, not a sizzling pace there in that 6 furlong sprint. He rode very confidently. I think that's a horse you need to keep your eye on. You're not going to get any kind of value on him now, but he's still a horse you need to watch.
Yeah, well, and now the world, and the sky's the limit too. You can take him back to the States. You can run him on grass. You can do whatever you need with him with that pedigree, right, Ren?
Oh yeah, for sure. Point of entry, we know like mile and a quarter, mile and a half grass, but then you got the bottom with Stephen Got Even, a son of AP Indy. So yeah, you've got a ton of versatility there. I will say, I would like to see the 12 titled forces go back to turf. That one turf start there at Gulfstream Park, I consider that more to be like DERF. Right, but then I think a nice lush grass turf course with titled forces being out of a Dynaformer mare who happens to be a half sister to Irish Mission, who was a champion grass mare there in Canada. I think titled forces would still have a big career ahead of him. I just want to see him on grass.
This is not a bad exacta, $115.
Very nice.
I'm very happy with that exacta because my picks were 6-7-1, and Money for Road didn't run so bad. She just didn't have the kick she had last time.
Yep, exactly. And again, I think there was a little bumping at the start. Again, I didn't see the rest of her trip. We could take a look back. They're going to show the replay, and we'll hang with you and kind of take a look one more time and see if we have any other takeaways. I do know, in terms of assessing trips, JD, we talked before the race started about Dursky, maybe going to the front. Maybe the horse isn't fast enough, but maybe at least trying to go to the front. And then, titled forces as well from the 12 hole. It looked like both of those horses lost a significant amount of ground early, and that probably did them in.
Yeah, I think the bumping early out of the gate forced the outer horses to go even further out on the track to start, and obviously some very wide trips to start. I mean, you look at Dan Samo leaped in the gate and basically ran 6 wide across. So that kind of tells you how everybody was settled and not settled going to the first half mile of this race.
Yep. Oh, Leslie is really high on safe conduct. We're going straight to the Breeders' Cup. Let's do this.
I got one for you.
Here seemingly have hit here. They've made some money. Kurt hit the exact as well. Congrats, Scott, hitting the try. Congratulations. Yeah, a lot of winners.
What did our horse go off at anyway? I'm just curious because he definitely outran his odds. I want to know what he was.
Who's that?
Harlan.
Harlan went off at 7.
7-1.
Are you serious? He was 9.
Funny. Yeah, I actually, to be honest with you, I made a big win place bet with about 3 minutes to post. I would not have made that bet at 7.
Right. No, right?
It's great. Don't get me wrong, but I would
He
not
might have been the one. I'm sorry. He might have been the one that went down that pushed the 3-1 up. I also want to say something. Talked about whoever just said Riptide. What if Riptide Rock comes back in the Northern Dancer at 1.5 miles?
That is definitely a possibility. I like that.
You know what's funny? You guys are, making the case for Riptide being, bred for this distance. So I just did Ellis knows, I use Stats Race Lens, a lot, and I just do a bunch of searches just when I'm bored, or when a horse is trying something new. For example, Riptide Rock, stretching out, going this distance. And I checked for point of entry horses going between 1 1/8 and 1 1/4. Again, very sort of basic search. And Ren schooled me on this yesterday. She's like, it's not just about the stallion's ability to throw winners at a certain distance. But interestingly, just 1 for 30 in stakes races, point of entry horses. So again, I think it's just there's so much to dig into when you get into pedigree. For somebody like me. Yeah.
It's an absolute equation because you can breed, for example, a long distance horse with a sprinter type mare, and you think, okay, I'll get something in the middle, but that's not necessarily the case. It all depends on how the genetics, fall. It depends on what else that genetic material that mare is bringing to the table that then might be overlapped within the pedigree itself. Maybe they have a couple common ancestors, and that reinforces some specific genetic trait. That's why, those stats, I got to look at the full picture. I have to see what the mare is bringing to the table, not just in relation to who her father was, but what her female family did. And so you can definitely glean something from it, but it doesn't show you the entire picture. It would be like looking at a couple puzzle pieces without seeing the entire completed image.
You can see the trophy ceremony, the trophy presentation. There's Woodbine CEO on the right, Jim Lawson, who we've had on this show before, does a spectacular job. Woodbine's been thrown some curveballs here over the past year and a half. And
Can we give him, let's give him some love for sure.
Yeah, praise him if you will. JD, I know you've got, again, this is a circuit you pay close attention to. You could talk about them coming out of this triumphant with just a great running here at the Queen's Plate.
Yeah, I think they did the right thing to get as many people as they can on the track, given the restrictions. We talked a little bit with our guests on track, but literally, if you had a ticket in the dining room today to watch the races, that's where you stayed. If you had a ticket in the grandstands, you could go inside to get food or use the restrooms. That was it. They really separated to get people there because this is a key. We bounced back in the States. We had our Triple Crown at the normal time. They did not. We're to a late start for the second straight year. And it's important for Woodbine, and it's important for this day, a big day with the Canadian bred horses, and obviously in this year's case, all Ontario breds being able to be out and run such a strong race and have such a great performance all around, a well-run race, and excited to see who takes the next step in the Canadian Triple Crown.
Let me throw this out there. It's approaching 6:00 p.m. Eastern. This show is Woodbine Live. This is our Queen's Plate 2021 special. We've seen the Dan Smartley Stakes. We have seen the Queen's Plate. The thing that's important to note here, aside from these prices, by the way, which I want to point out, 20-cent trifecta returns $242 for 20-cent trifecta. The 20-cent superfecta returns $1,500 plus. Your dollar pick 3 pays nicely here with that big price to kick things off. Sorry, JD, to bring that one back up again.
The pick 5. So the pick 5 for 20 cents paid $7,744.47. That was 2-1, 2-1, 70-1, 3-1, 3-1.
Wow.
This is a heartbreaker for our ticket, by the way, because just think how much more we'd be like looking forward to.
Well, speaking of that ticket, here is that ticket with 3 legs to go. So what I wanted to propose is that even though our off-air time is 6 o'clock, I'm willing to do
we were on for the Highlander. That's why I ate my dinner before the show. I ate dinner at 3:30.
I'm willing to do some overtime. At least for Highlander. One more leg. What do you think, guys?
I'll do the Highlander.
I can't stay for the whole race. I got a dinner reservation.
Oh,
dinner reservation.
We're celebrating my birthday early. I'm sorry.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
I'd ask you to share where you're going, but I don't know if you want people to show up.
No, I'll pass on that.
What is that address? One more time. JD, you want to stick around? We need consensus.
Of course,
it's 3. That's it.
It's 3 p.m. here on the West Coast, so I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Well, Ellis, stick with us. For a couple more minutes. Give us. You'll give us a quick pick. We'll talk about the remainder of this pick 5 ticket. And it's just an invitation for everyone who's out there watching. Stick with us. We're going to do a little overtime session here. We don't usually do these. I'm also going to get some side eye from my wife. But this is so much fun. I mean, we've got to do this, right?
You know what an idiot I feel like? Again, I thought that we were on for it anyway, so that's why I ate at 3:30.
Well, the other thing to honestly be thinking about here, Highlander, grade 1, turf sprint. What do we have turf sprint wise? That's a grade 1 in this country. We have the Jaipur, we have the Highlander, we have the Breeders' Cup turf sprint. I mean, this is a big race.
All right. I like that.
And the public thinks Caravel cannot lose, and you guys are going to say we should have singled him.
Well,
I didn't say it. I didn't say single. I mean, obviously she's super impressive, but I wasn't saying a single.
You guys, if you know me, Caravel is the reason I want to stay on, because me and JD have a difference of opinion here. Ren as well. Ren is with JD. Did not want to single Caravel. I have been on record as saying Caravel will win the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. In fact, Dan Silver, if you guys know Dan Silver, he reached out. He's like, I'll give you 7-5 right now on Caravel. And I took about a day and a half thinking about it before deciding to not take that. I said, take 7-5 3 months out. I shouldn't do this.
No.
Let's do this. Let's take a look at this replay here. If anyone has observations, go ahead and throw them out as this race is unfolding.
Well, your 9 looks headstrong. That is go take charge. I'm trying to look again. The main thing for me regarding, because I think, keep your eye out still for Dan Simo going forward in his career, only because I think today ahead of the race, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but not only was it getting warm, but Patrick Husbands had his legs out of the irons, and jockeys do that when a horse is getting a little bit agitated. It's a way to get them to calm down, get them to relax. And then we did see how he was basically a bucking bronco coming out of the gate, and how that definitely impacted his performance today. So I think if this is a horse who can get some more mental maturity, he's a horse that obviously has some athletic abilities. So just keep your eye out for him, because I think you'll get a nice price on him, because, people tend to look at the form and see where a horse finished and goes, oh, they were well beaten. The 1 always looked like a winner. I'll say that. And I think our horse, as we've already established, Harlan Estate, didn't have any estate with which to play, because as you watch them turn from home here, it was just a cavalry charge to the wire. It was actually really exciting to watch, but at the same time, I was apprehensive that something was going to happen, because it was so chaotic.
And at this particular moment, Keep Grinding looked like a winner, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Hadassah originally from the inside looked like a winner too. I thought the 3 or the 8, but the 1 showed the true class. I think one thing that maybe we can discount it, but I want to bring it up here for your guys' discussion. Top 4 finishers all have ran on some bigger days at some tracks that have had no restrictions in terms of fans and have heard the noise and have heard kind of the ruckus before a race. Do you guys factor that at all into this scenario where a lot of these stay-at-home Woodbine runners, they just haven't been afforded that opportunity given the very strict restrictions in Ontario leading up to this weekend?
With this one, I would say no, only because I didn't really see the horses acting up significantly in any way where I thought that they were actually being bothered by crowd noise. But I'm not going to say it's impossible either, but it's a very hot day, as we were already talking about earlier. Ellis was talking about the heat index there. And so warm days can obviously take their toll on a horse's performance.
Yep. No, it's an interesting point, and I think, a lot of times, and I try not to default to this because obviously there's a lot more that goes into handicapping than just picking like where the horse might have run last or whatever it might be. But you look at safe conduct coming out of the Grade 1 Belmont Derby, the Grade 3 Pennine Ridge, running and winning allowance races at Belmont earlier in the year.
Over public sector.
What's that?
Over public sector.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at Riptide Rock, where, this is a horse who lost 4 races before coming back to Woodbine last out. And Riptide Rock was running at Oaklawn and at Monmouth in upper level allowance and stakes races. Money for Rowe as well. This is a horse who had run at Churchill Downs, at Keeneland, at Gulfstream, to JD's point, not only the crowd noise, but again, you're getting a caliber of competition and company that's going to be elevated. I think the only outlier here, which makes the horse even more impressive, is H.C. Holiday, who has run, obviously started his career at Turfway Park.
Which doesn't have a grandstand when he ran.
Right. And then since then has run 3 races at Woodbine and seems to be getting better with each race. I thought that was an impressive effort. These other horses, you might see them show up, in other places, over the next few months. H.C. Holiday, presumably, stays home at Woodbine. And I think, at least for the remainder of this year, you might see him at Gulfstream next year, or who knows. But I think for the remainder of this year, H.C. Holiday could be a powerhouse. I think, 4 races into this horse's career, pretty impressive. I mean, to do that as well, as you said, with, never an easy trip with this horse. So, but yeah, the other 3, the common thread is that they've raced on bigger circuits. So,
one point I'll also make, and it is a handicapping angle also. I actually had a horse that he couldn't perform well down at Gulfstream, and it wasn't necessarily the class or whatever, so much as it was the humidity. He couldn't acclimate to the climate there. So you run him in a more northern track, and it makes a huge difference. And so that can be part of your handicapping when you're looking into horses, to seeing which horses deal, maybe a bad performance can be attributed to heat exhaust, just being overheated, etc. And this is another reason why it's very important to watch replays.
Absolutely. Ellis, we'll let you kind of close out that conversation and then transition us into this next race here, the Highlander.
Well, it's interesting. Like I say, Caravelle is either you signal or you try and beat, or you for pick 5, you can't try and eliminate. I didn't put him on top, her on top, I should say, because his filly gets the boys. I like the 3 and the 6 better. I made the race 3, 6, 7 for our ticket. That's what we used in our ticket, and that's what I have in some other plays. I'm going to box the 6 and I'm going to box the 3 and the 6. And then I'm going to play the 7 over the 3, 6 and make win bets on the 3 and 6, because there's no point in having it. There's no point in doing it the other way. The 3 turned aside last time out. No chance to get the lead he liked back in the Shakertown. Been off since. Always on or near the lead. Doesn't actually need the lead. So 2nd or 3rd. I think Emma can read very well. That race last November in the Aqueduct Turf Sprint was huge, and that's the one I think he said stock 3rd, linked off. That one's also won the quick call at Saratoga, stalking 3rd or linked off early. So that's good, because it looks like Chuck Willis, looks like Silent Poet might go for sure. The other is the 6 City Boy, who has a little more tactical speed than I like, but still he's always there at the wire. He doesn't tire late. second, from the 8th pole to the finish line, second, first, second, third. Won the Nürburgring last year, 6 on the turf. Yeah, it was yielding. But again, a horse that's always around. When you look at the odds right now, because of the overbet nature of the 7, you're getting 21 to 1 on a horse that's banked almost 400,000 as a Grade 2 winner on the Woodbine grass, and that's City Boy. And on turn to side, you're getting 11 to 1 on a horse that's won 2 stakes races since July of last year. So 3, 6, 7 are my plays here. That's what we got in our play, and that's what I really like. Let me quickly say, for those hanging on, if you're going to bet, because I know we're going to be off, in the 12th race, our ticket, we had a lot of horses, but I really like the 5 Protect. So people can write that down.
Yeah.
Ren looks excited.
Well, yeah. Well, Ellis, before I was going to say, so we'll circle back to everyone else's thoughts in the Highlander, but why don't you take us through the remainder of this ticket? Again, thank you so much for actually putting up with us and cobbling this ticket together for all of us. Tell us who we landed on in the next 2 legs. I mean, we are pretty deep.
The 12th is a wide open maiden race, and there's after scratches, I think there's 12 horses left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 11. And the 14 drew in Fascination, who gets Irad riding for Graham. He could be on a plane going back home. He's not. And that was a first-time starter. The 9 Coasting Away, a first-time starter for Gail Cox, bred really well. The 2 Sweets, the 1 Secret Delight, who I added for Barbara Minshall, who's got some really good breeding. The dam's only full one, I think, first out, if I remember correctly. Or maybe it's Minshall that has the first out winner. Anyway, everything good. And then the horses that have run, the 5 Protect, the 6 Confident, the 2 Sweet Serenade. Did I miss any? 1, 5, 6, 9, 11, 14. 11, Frankel at Ascot. My top pick's the 5 Protect. Second time out for Gainesway, Tappet, out of a Lemon Drop Kid mare that has had, I wrote down some crazy Mind Out, who was an LNJ horse that was really good, and Miss Mischief, who won $500,000. This dam is throwing lots of runners, and I love the 47 and 6 half-mile workout. So expect big improvement off the 4th place finish in the 12th. The 13th. Go ahead, Ren. You want to say something?
I was just going to say the main thing with that horse for me, apart from what you just went over, is the fact that that debut was a 7 furlong on the outer turf course. So you've got that 1 turn, and now it's a 2-turn mile, which I think is much better suited for her pedigree.
And in the 12th, we went 3, 4, 6, 10, 11. People could see there. Desolator, Mr. Diffley, Lakeshore Drive, My Sea Cottage, and Toronto Toro. I say it right? Yeah. Desolator. These are non-winners of basically 2 other than. Desolator has 3 wins. A couple wins came in claiming races, still eligible. One of those was at 7.5 on the inner last October. I like that a lot. And he only got beat 2 lengths last time out, 2 3/4, rallying from 11th to 3rd. So that's why we used him. We used Mr. Diffie coming off a runner-up, beating just 3/4 last time out. Kind of obvious. Where's Lakeshore Drive coming off a maiden win for Kevin Attard? Probably the speed of the race. The 10, My Sea Cottage, Antonio Gallardo, one of Cassie's pair. A maiden win at Gulfstream in March, been off since, but fits the condition perfectly. And then Toronto Toro, who won first time out at 6 on the all-weather and 5th last time out. I think he's really, this son of American Pharoah is really going to appreciate the 2 turns on the grass. So that's how we're finishing out our team pick 5, guys.
Yeah, well, we've got the coverage. Caravel currently 1 to 5 in the Highlander Stakes. We're gonna get JD. So he thinks that we're silencing him because we haven't gone to him yet because he's got a big case against Caravel here. We're gonna hear that. If you're just joining us, the Queen's Plate 2021 $1 million race, the biggest race in Canada, the kickoff to the Canadian Triple Crown goes to Safe Conduct, trained by Phil Serpy for Wellspring Stables. Irad Ortiz with another masterful ride, wins at 3 to 1. Value in retrospect, even though he only held on by what looked like either a nose or maybe a neck to Riptide Rock, who was closing furiously at 11 to 1. We were going through these races, and as you were mentioning the horses that we had, Ellis, it dawned on me that Ren took the time, I believe, to make a point out of the fact that she had no interest in Frankel at Ascot.
I look, she could win, and I did, and I made the point also that I would cry if I had you guys take her off the ticket. And by the way, real quick, the Caravel is breathing fire right now. She looks like she's ready to like destroy some people.
Always,
Wow.
always.
Oh wow! No, I'm super impressed.
JD's restraint is incredible right now.
Oh wow! I mean, she looks like she's ready to dispatch someone. But yeah, to your point, I said, hey, don't take her off the ticket, because if the horse won and it was because I said don't use her, then I would feel awful. But the thing that I've noticed with her, because we do these selections, Ellis and I are Woodbine contributors. The thing I've noticed with her is she loses a lot of energy because she gets a little bit mental. And if I'm going to take her, I don't want to take her at any type of short price, because it's not worth it to me, because I feel like there are too many knocks against, because, there's always just seems to be some reason that energy is being expended ahead of the race itself. Now, maybe they got her head on straight today, as I said in my email. So that's why I'm saying don't take her off because of me. But she's one of those shorter price type horses that I would leave off my own personal ticket. And if she beat me, she beats me.
Fair enough. We had Ellis just go through the remainder of our sequence. Ellis is heading off to an early birthday party. Ellis, tell us exactly when your birthday is and where people can send your gifts.
No to either, but no, my birthday is Thursday. And as a matter of fact, I'll happen to be in Vegas for Equibase at the NHC. I'm not qualified, but you never know. I will be playing in the last chance contest, and maybe what's that? Bill Mott never loses on his birthday. Maybe I
That's right.
So we'll see if I can join the Bill Mott Club.
Ellis, thank you so much for joining us again, as always, taking your time here on a Sunday, imparting the knowledge, building the tickets for us, cutting into time with your wife. You are the best. Thank you, Ellis.
Thanks, everybody. Let's hit this pick 5. Everybody out there, go make some money in the last few.
Cheers, Ellis. Happy birthday early again.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, that was Ellis Starr there.
Okay, JD, lay into Dan. I want to hear it. Why didn't you?
Yours is yours, JD. Do you want to go full screen for this?
No. We're okay. If you want. My proof got even bigger yesterday.
Oh.
Okay. Who is Caravel beat? Who would be the number one horse that you would say? And that would be. Let's go to the mall today. Robin Sparkles. And Robin Sparkles was absolutely terrible yesterday. And the thing I want to point out here is I always use Piedi Bianchi as a barometer, because I love Piedi Bianchi, but that's an Indiana bred that fights against and has big battles against horses here. And Piedi Bianchi, obviously 9 some lengths ahead of Robin Sparkles, who looks like she needs a break. But that's Caravel's big win recently. And when they two matched up to start the season at 6 furlongs, Robin Sparkles finished ahead of Caravel. Caravel has never won on 6 furlongs. We're just talking about going against the girls here. We haven't mentioned the fact that this is a 4-year-old filly going against older males.
And just 1 second. I want you to keep making this case. So this is clearly the test, right? This is the warm up, right? Like, can she handle this? If she can, we're going to send her to the sprint, right? I mean, clear. So first of all, she's been purchased privately by some big connections, Bobby Flay included. They've moved the horse from Lizzie Merriman, who's a spectacular trainer in Maryland, where my heart is. But they moved the horse to Grand Motion, which I'm okay with. That's
the horse I'm scared of, by the way. I just want to say it real quick, because we don't have him on our ticket. I really like him a lot, but I didn't want to push it with our group ticket.
Yeah, well, all right. We'll come back to Admiralty.
Yeah, let's let him keep ranting.
I just want to say that. So, I get the point too. That yes, going against the boys here, a little different. This isn't Robin Sparkles, but keep making the case. Keep going, JD.
Okay, so you look at the record and say, okay, well, there is a 6 furlong win for Caravel. And it was at Presque Isle Downs. So obviously this horse has done really well, and this horse has been moving up each test, and they've been incremental steps. And I just want to say a weak grade, what's looking like what ended up being a weak grade 3 field of fillies at Saratoga, going to a grade 1 against boys is a gigantic leap forward for this horse. Does the horse have the talent to do it? potentially, and this is obviously the spot. This is the barometer here for Caravel going forward. Obviously, with the private sale, Bobby Flay's made some big things, but I said this on my podcast this week, and I'm living up to it. If this horse wins the race, I am going to Vegas sooner than later. I am going. That's the nearest Bobby Flay restaurant to me, the new Italian bistro that replaced Mesa Grill there in Caesar's Palace. I'm buying the most expensive steak on the menu. I've already been on the record in saying this. I don't think it's happening here against talented older males that have been proven in grade 2 and grade 3s previous to this.
If you were really confident, you would offer to also take Ren and me and buy both of us the same steak.
Yeah, JD. I mean, come on.
What do you say, JD?
Well, I don't know when you guys are going to be here, so maybe we can discuss that, because I don't.
Fortitude, my friend.
I would be happy to. If we end up in the same place, I will buy you all steaks if Caravel wins.
All right. Block party
at Outback.
We'll take Outback. Block party chiming in. I love this. I want to see your tickets. Let us know who you're betting. Block party with a superfecta here, using 2 horses on top from the J.D. School of Handicapping, tossing Caravel out of that top spot, going with Silent Poet and City Boy on top. Ren, you want to talk about Admiralty Pier? Go ahead.
Well, real quick, the point about Caravel, it's something I would also say, and this is something that you can also put in your handicapping toolbox. Obviously, the figures she put up are very impressive, 98, 99, those last 2 races alone and by open lengths. But also consider this, horses, when they feel confident and they're in a field where they just completely overmatch their opponents, they can run bigger figures than they could put in against other horses, because there's just something about the confidence that builds the momentum itself. So it's going to be relative. And to JD's point, we're going to have to wait and see. And this is why I said, could she win? Absolutely. Would I single her? Heck no. So the thing with the Admiralty Pier is it's insane to me that he's sitting there at 12-1 on the morning line. I know he's been routing. I know that you think distance with him. And this is a 6 furlong sprint. But that being said, he does possess some natural speed. And he wouldn't necessarily be on the lead, but he's going to be close. And he obviously has stamina to finish out. So he's a horse with a lot of back class. I mean, just look at those running lines. Look at some of those names you see in the company lines. Arklow, Masterpiece, Starship Jubilee, March to the Art. I mean, these are some really good horses, and I think he's been completely overlooked at 12-1. It's crazy to me. He's not on our ticket, so now I got to root against, because he was going to be my upset play.
The one thing I will say, Ren, real quick, and obviously I love you here, and I'm a big Admiralty Pier fan, but you realize the last sprint, you realize the last sprint win was August 6, 2017.
And that's okay, because look, I mean, it's not like they've tried. I mean, he's been 7 furlongs back in July, and he showed speed there, ended up tiring to finish second, being 2 1/4. And look at the bullet drill he comes in with, 46-3. Fastest of 97 horses. They obviously have worked, came into this race knowing that he was going to have to be sharpened up. So that's why he's scary. He has back class, and they've been purposefully trying to get him sprint fit.
I like that. Ren, I liked your note earlier too about pre-race, the jockey's move of having their feet.
Yeah.
Their feet out. I didn't know about that. That's
to calm the horse down. It's just to calm the horse down, because it's almost like, have you seen the horses go into gate? Sometimes when they're getting anxious, they put the blanket over them.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. It gives them comfort to feel kind of hugged, if that makes any sense.
That's wild.
So you'll see that a lot with 2-year-old races in particular, of jockeys taking their feet out of the irons and just letting their legs wrap around, and everything's cool, everything's chill. We're not in go mode yet, and so.
Yeah. As always, Ren, you're bringing in the viewers, and I know one of our mutual friends and one of your good friends,
Naja. Yes, I love Naja.
He's in Team Caravel. Always understands looking for value. JD, that sounds like a nice way of him saying it's a good try. It's a good try. We get what you're going for. Our friend Mr. Guitar here also throwing in a superfecta, a little bit more affordable here at $8 per ticket, using a couple of horses on top. Again, using Caravel in that second spot. Yeah, this is Leslie. Bridge jumpers here with the 7 at 1 to 5. It really is. Look.
Oh yeah, bridge jumper alert.
Yeah, absolutely.
There isn't though, really.
No.
It's only 16,000 in the show pool.
Oh,
I would say
okay.
no.
Okay. Pops weighing in. Oh wait, that's not Pops. 7-8 exacta. That's Pops right there.
When are we going to get Max as part of the show too? Well, when is he going to be a guest handicapper?
We got to get him on. Yeah.
What you guys should collectively root for, as I mentioned, the stake with Caravel. If the 6 wins, Andrew Champagne has to buy me that stake.
Got a trouble with City Boy.
Let's watch it.
I love it.
Immediately, trouble with City Boy in the gate. Reared up.
Here, by the way, again, if you're watching, here's our team pick 5 ticket. 3 legs to go. We have 3, 6, and 7.
And they came out evenly. Dropping to last soon after his old chestnut, and Chuck Willis has gone out in front with Caravel on the outside. They are the joint leaders. One away third, Silent Poet around City Boy. Over on the inside is Turned Aside. They came out by a length to Honey Won't, and 4 lengths away Admiralty Pier, and off the rail is Old Chestnut. Race favorite on top, Caravel. Caravel at the half mile draws out to lead by a length. In second placing, Chuck Willis. On the outside, Silent Poet. And 1 behind them, City Boy going 3 wide. In between runners, Turned Aside is nudging up. And a length and a half away is Honey Won't. And at the back is Admiralty Pier as Old Chestnut starts to run around the outside. Caravel yet to be used as they turn. And they come at Caravel. Silent Poet up on the outside. And deeper out, City Boy. Behind them, Chuck Willis trying to run home is Turned Aside. And going up and hitting the front. Silent Poet's got the lead from Caravel. Silent Poet is back. Silent Poet dashing on down the outside. Admiralty
and here
Pier
comes
with
the 2.
Last position. Silent Poet in front. Admiralty Pier coming at
2 might have this
as well. Silent Poet in front. Admiralty Pier out the ground, but Silent Poet has won the Highlander Stakes. Admiralty Pier second. Caravel was third. Behind them, City Boy, Honey Won't, Chuck Willis, Old Chestnut, and last.
I hope everybody faded Caravel and then wound up on somebody.
A fantastic time.
That's the best I could do
there. JD. Tip of the hat to you, my friend. Great call. Our friend here, Block Party, was 6'8". He had that 6'8".
Yep.
8. He has the 2 in the second spot.
Got it.
He's got that super. This could be a decent little super. So congrats to our friend Block Party. There he is. He's got the super. He said,
I was shocked. I was shocked to see Caravel on the lead. Shocked.
Too. That's not where Caravel wants to be. So I'm not gonna make any excuses. That was not the effort I expected. But that being said,
do you think it's possible that they were just overconfident coming into the race and were like, just go with her, just go. She has speed, just go. Or do you think maybe it was a matter of she just broke so sharp, a rad maybe called an audible and was just like, okay, I'll let her go instead of fight her? Because again, ahead of this race, she was like, we always hear the expression on the muscle. She was can I use a word? Like never mind. I'll describe it this way. She was being like, I own you all. Mm-hmm. And maybe instead of trying not to fight with her too much, defer to what she wanted to do. Because a lot of times you see jockeys, they fight horses, they expend more energy that way than they would if they just let them run. Mm. I'm just wondering if she was just so keyed up that they just let her go. Yeah. And I will say, Admiralty Pier did not embarrass me. Yeah. I'm happy he ran as well as he did. But at the same time, I'm like, oh.
Look, I was with you on Admiralty Pier. In fact, I put in an exacta, but the exacta was Caravel over Admiralty Pier. So wrong horse on top. JD wins the day. It doesn't do him any favors considering we didn't have Silent Poet on the ticket. So his
But the other reason I'm mad is I played a pick 3 and I didn't use Silent Poet. I had Admiralty Pierre. So like,
And
come on.
and it looked to me, I mean, Silent Poet was in such good form last year, and those were 2 spots. I mean, especially the allowance first up. I mean, that's a spot where this horse in the past would have just trounced the field. Yeah. Lost by 5.5. So when we heard Robert Geller on the call say Silent Poet is back, I mean, Silent Poet has been one of the most consistent horses in the sprint division at Woodbine for a long time. Obviously, last year had 4 victories and 6 tries, including 2 grade 2s, and now gets the first grade 1 under his belt with Nick Gonzalez, very underrated trainer.
Oh, yeah. Queen's Plate winner a few years back as well. Nick Gonzalez, very good trainer at Woodbine. Ren, you could feel good about this. Our friend Block Party.
That does make me happy. That does, because I'm glad that I'm assuming that means that you used him in your exotic play, and so you got a nice return on that. So thank you for trusting me and valuing my opinion.
Hit the super. So wait, JD, what happens now? I mean, you don't have to buy the stake. The 6 didn't win, so. You know, what happens now?
Oh, I'm still right. I mean, Caravel didn't win, so I'm still right.
You need to treat him to Applebee's. That's what happens. You got to treat him to Applebee's.
Late night happy hour at Applebee's.
By the way, I'm also very pleased that I did not take that 7-5 action on Caravel to win the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
Yeah.
Well, that's my one victory.
Dan, I have to admit, when you were talking about all this, I was just like, what is he talking about?
I can get wrapped up in a horse. It was the Maryland connection and all that. I was super.
Oh, okay. Well, I see. There's a bit of a sentimental factor in there. I get it.
I mean, look, I'm not counting the horse out at all. Like, I mean, I think, look, we'll see where she shows up next. Look, she did
something against her regular running style, so you're gonna give her another shot.
Yeah, she's run 3 straight races where she's racing from off the pace. She goes to the front here. We saw her in the Hilltop last year go to the front and fade. She needs to be tracking a decent pace, which you're usually going to get in a turf sprint. Her setting the pace in a smaller field is not ideal, but she ran terribly today. I mean, it's as simple as that. Like, for what she is, she ran terribly.
They've been willing to put her in spots. This was the 8th racetrack she's run in 10 spots, in 10 starts. So I'm not willing to I think she's going to be a very good sprinter going forward in her career. I just think that it may not be at the grade 1 level against boys.
Wow. Block Party saying the super paid $236.69. I thought it would pay a lot. That does seem very light.
Does that seem light to you? I thought that seemed
really
light. Like,
a 9-1 over 12-1 over. Who got in the?
I mean, Caravel was 1-5 and finished 3rd. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, she held for the show though. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, she finished 3rd.
Okay, well there you go. All right.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, obviously, you would have gotten more if she finished 4th, because some people might have bled her down to 3rd, but I didn't expect a lot of people to bleed her down to 4th. But I think it's still, and that's kind of the one thing at Woodbine with the 20-cent minimum wagers that we talk about for, like, the trifecta's 20-cent wager, and that's gives you more coverage than the states. But a 20-cent super is an interesting play because most of the states we have 10-cent supers. So.
All right. This has been a lot of fun, as always. We have, again, JD, Ren, feel proud and excited about this show because not only were we, in each other's company, had a lot of fun with this, with Ellis, with Sheri, of course, and with Will at the track. We had 400 to 500 people watching us live.
Really? Thank you so much, everybody.
Around the Queen's Plate. And we still have 350 people watching us right now in overtime. So
that's awesome.
So grateful for everyone who's tuned in. Hit those subscribe buttons. Come back next time. We do this a lot. So come back next time. We really appreciate everyone. For JD and Ren, I'm Dan. Happy Queen's Plate Day. Here's to more big, fun racing days coming up. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.